All right, fantastic. Our next guest, I know that there's still 104 days of summer vacation, and our next guest is definitely the best summer hang you're going to find anywhere in the tri-state area. Cue up the theme music. It's back, baby. The voice of Phineas from Phineas and Ferb from Disney. We've got Vincent Martella on the line. What's up, Vince?
Hey, how are you doing this morning? I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm happy to have you. Was it challenging after all these years? I think it's been 10 years since you guys done a show for you to get back into that character literally and emotionally?
No, it wasn't challenging for me. Because I've played Phineas for so long and I feel like I know this character so well, now it's been about 20 years since I started playing Phineas. And so speaking as Phineas and acting as Phineas, it's just second nature to me at this point. And so I stepped right back in and felt as good as I'd ever felt coming back to do these new episodes.
So is it still on the 104-day vacation loop, or has things evolved? Because I heard that Candace is now in therapy. Is that true?
That is true about Candace. She's working on herself. Basically, the new season takes place the following summer vacation. So a new summer vacation has started. It's the following year. And to mark the passage of time, there's an extra stripe on Phineas's shirt. So that's about as much as has changed, because the rest of the show is just all going to be the same energy, the same love, the same excitement, the same musicality that fans of the original run of the show have come to know and love. We wanted it to feel as seamless as possible and like we never stopped. And I think that they've achieved that with these episodes.
And did you feel maybe a little concerned that you were now 30-something? What are you, 32? And you have to sound like young Phineas, or you had no problems? The voice can just go right back there.
No, yeah, I was never concerned about it, and I have no problem with it. I'll be able to do Phineas's voice for the rest of my life. I mean, one of the great benefits of being a voice actor is you get to create these fun voices for these characters, and I created Phineas's voice 18, 19 years ago, and talking like him, it's part of my life, and it'll always be part of my life. So I was never worried or concerned about it. And I genuinely get to, I hope I am playing Phineas for 10 more years after this. We'll work on the show as long as Disney lets us make it.
In terms of the voice direction early on, was that tone and energy something that came heavily directed to you in that very first recording, or is that something that just came from you organically in the genesis of Phineas?
So something that the creators, Dan Povenmire and Swampy Marsh, the creators of Phineas and Ferb, did when I booked the pilot, so when I booked the first episode of the show, is that they sent out a VHS video. And for any of your listeners who are too young to know, there was a thing called VHS, and there were these tapes that you put into your television, and you could watch things on them. Basically, it was them describing how they came about to writing the show, what style the show was going to be in, what the humor was going to be in, and it was basically them reading a lot of the beats of the show together. And so it was very, very informative about everything that they wanted to convey and that they wanted to get across in this show. I felt it so helpful, and I truly loved it. I think that was one of the best ways they could have gotten across the humor and the energy of the show, because on its face, it's a little hard to describe to someone if they'd never seen the show before. These stepbrothers building a roller coaster who have a secret agent pet platypus. But when you have the creators who have, who breathed all these things to life, telling you exactly what the style of humor is on the show, that becomes very helpful.
Well, you nailed it, Vincent. And our guest, Vincent Martella, Season 5, tonight is the premiere, and then it will be on YouTube and streaming on Disney Plus the following day with 10 new episodes. So everybody's excited that summer is here and that we got still 104 days left. And last night, I got to tell you, I'm watching some clips on YouTube with the kids, and the first thing my daughter says is, "Put on Simp. We want to hear." I'm like, "Simp? What the hell is Simp?" "Squirrels in my pants. Squirrels in my pants," and then followed by a little "Get ya goo." And I love the theme song. I mean, everybody knows the words to the theme song, but why do you think that this soundtrack of this show connects with people so deeply?
Well, that is all credit to our amazing writers on the show. because they write the music, and then our music team turns it into what it is. And I am extremely spoiled as a voice actor and a singer that they let me then sing all those songs. Because anytime that Phineas is singing on the show, that's me. And I actually got to sing "Gitchy Gitchy Goo" at the Disney premiere of Phineas and Ferb. I sang that song for the first time live, like with a big crowd. It was really cool. So it's fun knowing that your kids love all the music.
Yeah, it's definitely good music. Is this something that is like a well-oiled machine after all these years? I record music myself, and I know some songs, they just come together quickly, and then, some may take many sessions. Is there a song that you remember that took the longest, and then is there a record that just really came together, or has Disney just got this like a machine and every song is just churned and burned out quickly?
I'm trying to think of if there was one that took a particularly long time. There have been ones that I've been embarrassed where I'm like, oh, this is because we do such a wide genre of music where I'm like, oh, I've never actually done a song like this before. I hope I don't do it a disservice. I think some of the funnier ones is like recently I went in and I had to rap, and I'm not the best rapper. I'm just simply not. And it was just a very funny session because I was having to rap lyrics really quickly, and that was pretty difficult. As for sessions that I've thought have been the coolest, we did a song for a movie that we had back in 2011 for the Disney Channel, and we got to do it with Slash. Like Slash was a big fan of the show, and so he wrote this really cool guitar song with us. And so I've sang with Slash from Guns N' Roses, so that's pretty cool.
That is awesome. And I know he plays a Les Paul just like me here in the studio. I'm a fan of Slash. This is really cool. Right now we're talking with the voice of Phineas. Season 5 premieres. It's tonight, 8 o'clock. Make sure you got your alarm set on your phone to watch it. If you miss it, just pick it up on YouTube or on Disney or on Disney+. When you're voicing Phineas, Vince, what do you see in your mind in that moment when you're in the booth? Is there a place you go mentally? Do you see a picture of Phineas in your imagination as you're channeling this sound?
No, I'm definitely picturing Phineas and picturing his attitude and picturing his energy. Because even when I hear Phineas's voice, although I've been doing Phineas's voice for 20 years, whenever I hear his voice or I watch the show, it's like it's a different person. It really is like hearing and seeing a completely different person for me. So I'm able to watch it and separate myself from it quite a bit. And man, oh man, do I love making cartoons because I get to go in there and I get to, play around and do this fun voice. And then 8-9 months later, I get to come back and all the artists have done incredible work to turn those crazy voice recordings that I've done into beautiful art that's, an episode of television.
I think all the people that have grown with you, Vince, want you to take us behind the curtain a little bit. What's the process like from the moment you get the script to the moment your voice becomes Phineas? If you can tell us kind of the process, I think kids would and grown-ups as well would be very interested in that process.
Yeah, no, what's wonderful about, one of the great things about social media now is I think it's allowed people to understand a lot more about voice acting than ever before, because when I was first breaking into the industry, it was very hard to see what anybody's process was. But I even try to show people this on my TikTok and on my YouTube as I try to tell people about, what my process is with voice acting and kind of stories from, all the projects that I work on. And basically I get up and make sure I've really taken care of my voice. So that means, days leading into the show, I'm taking care of my voice. I'm not going to go to an NBA game the night before and, scream my voice out, or go to a loud concert the night before, something like that. So you take care of your voice. I have to warm up for a while. And that's a combination of things usually is I'll make sure that I'm speaking a lot so I can warm up my speaking voice. Then I also do vocal exercises. And then a lot of times I'll sing as Phineas on my way to the studio, but I have to pick songs that are in Phineas's key. So like Phineas has his own range when he sings, which is different than my own. And it actually works out really, really well with Billy Joel or Bob Dylan music. So there's a lot of me driving from my house to the studio, singing as Phineas, doing like Tambourine Man, or doing like Billy Joel's like scenes from an Italian restaurant. But then once we get there, we all record by ourselves. We don't do ensemble records. It's pretty rare for any show to do them now. They're pretty. It's pretty difficult to do an ensemble record these days. But I go in there and I do my best to play this character who I love and this character who's been a part of my life for, almost 2 decades.
Before you became a cartoon, you probably watched a ton of them, I'm assuming. What were shows that lit up your imagination when you were a kid?
I mean, I definitely did. However, I will say the great irony of my life is that my parents were decently strict on what cartoons I could watch when I was a kid. So, I'm 32, and there are plenty of 90s cartoons that I never got to watch. I've never watched Rugrats. I never watched Hey Arnold, never watched Courage the Cowardly Dog, nothing like that. The things that were inspiring me as a kid, like voice acting wise, and I've always loved animation, but it's like I loved The Lion King so much and Aladdin, and then when Pixar started coming out with movies, my favorite Pixar movie is definitely The Incredibles. I love The Incredibles, so that was a big inspiration on me. And now I'm still constantly, not surprised, but inspired by voice actors who I find so talented, and I feel like I can learn so much from them, and I try my best to learn so much from them. Like my favorite voice actor ever is Seth MacFarlane, who does all the work on Family Guy and American Dad and countless other projects. But he is just so good at doing. He's having conversations with himself because he plays so many characters.
Did your parents let you watch Ted?
Yeah, I was old enough by the time that came out.
That's good.
Like it was the same with like Family Guy and like Futurama and American Dad and those shows. I snuck watched those on Adult Swim when I was a teenager. I would sneak it so that my parents didn't know about that.
I see you got some ink, Vince. Any chance there's a secret Phineas tattoo hiding somewhere? I don't know. Do you have one or have plans to get one?
Yeah, I do have a Phineas and Ferb tattoo. I got it when we did a movie in 2020 called Candace Against the Universe. And it was the first year that Disney Plus came back, and I know fans really liked that movie, and it did really great for Disney Plus. Like, I know that a lot of people streamed it, but I had been wanting to get a Phineas and Ferb tattoo for a long time. But they always tell you not to as an actor. They're always like, don't get any tattoos because then hair and makeup has to cover it up, and that is true because I've had hair and makeup need to cover up my tattoos before since that has happened. Like I worked on an NBC show, and they made me cover up all my tattoos. But my Phineas and Ferb tattoo it's pretty subtle. It's a 104 because there's 104 days of summer vacation, so it's just the number 104.
That's sweet.
It's on my wrist.
Phineas and Ferb is back with an all-new season 5. The season premieres tonight on Disney Channel and Disney XD. 2 episodes airing back-to-back tonight. And then starting tomorrow, the first 10 episodes going to be available streaming on Disney+. All right, Vince, we got the bonus round. I don't want you to think about these questions very much. But a weirder place to wake up, a Final Fantasy world or a Doofenshmirtz basement? What do you think's the weirder place?
Oh, Doofenshmirtz's basement. Everything would have a self-destruct button. It would be so dangerous.
There you go. Would Phineas invent a time machine or a taco launcher first?
A time machine first, I think, to go hang out with some dinosaurs.
That sounds dope. You're a voice in a musical. Choose your genre. Are we talking EDM, 80s power ballad, country? You got an indie acoustic? What are you thinking?
Oh, wow. I would probably take like 70s rock and roll. So I would do some 60s or 70s. Like my favorite band ever is the Beatles. So if I could do even some 60s like pop rock like that, I think that would be fun. We did an episode that had the Baljeetles in it because one of our characters' name is Baljeet, and that was fun.
Out of all the Phineas and Ferb memorabilia you've collected over the years, I saw in one of your interviews you really like collecting things. Is there one that stands out the most that is most special to you of all the collectibles you have from the show?
I actually just got something that I was so excited about. We did a Phineas and Ferb Star Wars crossover episode years ago, and I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and randomly, out of nowhere, the store Box Lunch, which I like shopping at for pop culture stuff anyways, released 3 Phineas and Ferb Star Wars shirts, and I got a really cool Phineas and Ferb Star Wars shirt that's embroidered and has the characters on it, and then I got a crew neck of the Phineas and Ferb characters from the Star Wars episode. And then I got one that has Perry in Jedi robes, so it's Perry the Platypus looking like a Jedi. And those are some of my favorite things I have from the show right now.
And are you showing off that collection on TikTok? If people want to check out your TikTok, it's I believe the Vincent Martella, right, on TikTok?
Yeah, at the Vincent Martella on TikTok, and I'm only getting better and better at TikTok and YouTube. I'm the same on all my platforms as at the Vincent Martella, but I try to post a lot of content about voice acting, about things I've worked on, about things that I'm working on in the future, about voice acting, about my kind of experiences in the industry, as well as trying to answer fans' questions about the show coming back and about Disney and pop culture and stuff like that. Because I'm a pretty big pop culture nerd, it's been fun being able to interact with my fans that way.
And I know there's a lot of people that aspire to be the next voice actor of one of the great Disney cartoons. What advice would you give to a 13-year-old? I think that's the age you got started. What would you give them walking into their first audition for an animated series? What advice would you give them?
Oh, yeah, just have the time of your life. Have a ball. Go in there and create something fun, and don't worry about, the long-term consequences of these projects, because, we're always so nervous. Like any kind of artist, like you said, you're a musician, correct?
Yes. I love playing the guitar, love playing drums, love making music.
So any type of artist, whether you're a voice actor, a writer, a dancer, a musician, we all love doing our art so much, but it's a lot of, waiting to see if people are going to let you do it, professionally. So you can't really worry about any of these things too much. You just have to go in and give it your all, and be very passionate. But now is actually, there's so much information available now to learn about voice acting because of things like TikTok, and because of things like YouTube, and how I've set up my YouTube and TikTok pages to talk about voice acting. And there are plenty of really great, talented voice actors who do the same. So there's just so much knowledge to now gain, and you can always learn more. Like I've been lucky enough to have worked on some very successful things in voice acting, and I think that I'm a pretty good voice actor. Like I'm pretty confident in my skills, but I still take one or two workshops a month if I can, with people I admire, whether that be actors or directors or anything like that. So there's always room for improvement. So just have fun and really work hard at it.
Phineas and Ferb is back, ladies and gentlemen, tonight on Disney Channel and Disney XD, 8 o'clock, back-to-back episodes. Let the summer begin. And finally, before we let you go, Vince, I know Phineas always asks Ferb, what do you want to do today? But today I'm flipping it. Phineas, what do you want to do today?
Well, I am just so excited about the new season of the show Phineas and Ferb coming back. I think I'm going to gather around with my friends and my family, pop some popcorn, and enjoy the new season of the show. I hope you all do the same.
Happy summer, man. We love you, Phineas. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I hope all your viewers or your listeners and viewers enjoy it. And thanks for the support. I appreciate it so much.
All right. Peace out, bro.